Right now you are at?
I'm in Sweden, at the Swedish west coast.
Excellent.
Unfortunately.
No, I'm sure it's a good weather there. It must be approaching summer, if I'm not wrong.
It's still summer, and it's very good weather. Yes, please.
Excellent. I had the opportunity to be there as a government delegation last May.
Okay.
I had been to many places there, including Vinova and other places.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. I hope you can come back soon again.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Hi, Niranjan and Nilanjan. Good to see you here.
Hi.
Hello, good morning.
Nice meeting you.
Thanks for your help for organizing this.
Absolutely. And we are also looking forward greatly to the announcement of the partnership.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hi. Can you see and hear me well now?
Yes, Gagan, we can hear you well and see you.
Gagan, good to hear.
Good.
Yep.
Hi, Anders.
Hi.
Hi, Dr.
Well.
Saiyed.
Oh. Hi.
We are on time and the YouTube is also live. So let's start the event. Welcome everyone for the joint webinar on the Innovation Challenge and India-Sweden Healthcare Sector, as well as the signing of collaboration with Ccamp. I'm Harika Garapati and I'll be moderating the session today. Today is, before I start the event, I would request everyone who are watching us through YouTube to post all your comments and questions in the YouTube comments box. We will address all your queries at the end of the session. It is a very special day for all of us at Innovation Center because we were able to finally sign the collaboration with Ccamp, and we are really looking forward to multiple such events like this webinar and future collaborations with Ccamp. And I think the kind of speakers that we have for this particular event also emphasizes the same thing. So thank you so much for organizing this particular webinar for us, the complete Ccamp team, and especially Dr. Saiyed. And without any further delay, I would request now Dr. Saiyed, the Managing Director, Ccamp India, to give us the opening remarks and welcome the audience. You are on mute, Dr. Saiyed.
Indeed, I was on mute. Good morning, everyone. I do it every time. Habitual, sinner, if I may say so. But to begin with, good morning and thank you, Ms. Harika, for this. I'm delighted to be at this particular webinar and an important event which would mark collaboration and hopefully long-term and productive collaboration between Ccamp and India-Sweden Healthcare Innovation Center. As we learn more about healthcare around us, I think there are very important aspects. And we truly see that many aspects of healthcare do not get restricted by boundaries or borders per se. And hence, global collaborations are key to actually build and take those forward. And more so from a perspective of the sectors like healthcare, how different collaborators come together. Before I go on to do that, I think I'll just possibly introduce Ccamp very briefly so that all the participants get the context. And I am here with my colleagues, Dr. Niranjan Joshi and Dr. Nilanjana, who are both here, who are representing Ccamp for this particular event, where Ccamp is around 9 to 10 years old organization supported by Department of Biotechnology, which has been aimed to be positioned as a catalyst of high-end research and innovation in India in the field of life sciences. In a way, broadly, Ccamp works in three broad verticals. One is the technology platforms, where Ccamp is a part of Bangalore Life Science Cluster, which is India's biggest life science campus, which with around 1,800 people on campus working in the life science research. So this is the topmost campus in terms of life science research in India, and one of the best scientific fundamental research, translation research, and now innovation coming out of India actually come from this place. So that is one. The one of the primary organization which started the campus was NCBS, National Center for Biological Sciences, which is a center of TIFR Bombay. And over years, it has actually taken a phenomenal shape in terms of the driver of basic research. And then it added two more organizations around it. One is INSTEM and one is Ccamp. INSTEM is the only federally funded stem cell research institute in India. And then the Ccamp, which is the catalyst of research and innovation. So what I just mentioned is that Ccamp actually leverages the topmost, dense, most scientific research component in campus of India, and then builds on it a high-end, top-end innovation capabilities and work across India to do that. So that's one very important thing. And we have technology platforms which are top-notch. You talk about in the research and innovations, innovators would need the best of the microscopy, the best of the flow cytometry, the best of the genomics capability, the best of the high throughput sequencing, high throughput screening, X-ray crystallography, NMR, any biological analytical work that happens, it is under one roof on this campus. And we work with 300 organizations across India to make those available and provide training on that, because that is one of the mandate that we have been given by the government. So that is one. Second component that Ccamp does is, very quickly I'll tell you, is promote deep science research. And that's very important aspect when I emphasize on the deep science, because the scientific, the risk takers of the science have to be promoted at a higher level. So we do a lot of work in that. And now we have in our own portfolio 200, and we are in touch with more than 2,000 life science innovators who are across India. But our 200 are already globally recognized. The only company from India across all sectors, not only life science, anywhere, to be ranked in world's top game-changing innovation, 35 game-changing was from Ccamp. And there are several such examples where our innovators have been globally recognized. So idea is that, can you actually be the place and the culture where deep science innovation goes forward? So that's a second vertical. And third vertical we do is a translation aspect, where we do a lot of work in engaging with top-notch academic discoveries and help them translate into industry-ready technologies. Because there is many a times there's a gap between best academic outcome and the industrial input. And that is a gap that we actually aim to fill. So there are three verticals I talked about. I'll just come back on this aspect. I think the reason that for a year that we have been keen on partnering with the Healthcare Innovation Center has been one of the input by the Atal Innovation Mission, who has supported us significantly for last 2 years as the first batch of established incubation center, where they say that this would be one of the important things where we can bring our healthcare understanding top notch, from continuing from the pharmaceutical, biopharmaceutical, medtech, diagnostics, devices, nutraceutical, probiotics, and so on. That understanding that we have, and possibly our own portfolio of that, is more than 125 to funded companies. These are not companies known to us. We have funded them. So that understanding has given us a lot of know-how in working with the system here, that we can take it forward and engage with Healthcare Innovation Center to support that. On top of it, we do believe global collaborations are important. So Ccamp has collaborated extensively with US under Indo-US Life Sciences Innovation Hub in the presence of Prime Minister of India. I was a part of the delegation who had done that a few years back. We have collaboration with UK in University of Edinburgh that you know of. University of Edinburgh, one of the best institute in terms of animal and agri-biotech. We have a collaboration with them. We have collaboration with Amsterdam, Holland, when the recent leadership of the team came, where from the king of the Netherlands and others came in October. We have now collaboration for antimicrobial resistance and digital health with them. as well as we have now collaboration when we actually went to Switzerland with part of the principal scientific advisor to the PM delegation on the digital health and other aspects. So we have built global collaborations. The reason to build is not necessarily do a paperwork, but build an innovation ties and know-how, more importantly, with ecosystem players, not as a project, but ecosystem players. And that has actually made a huge difference now, because we now have running programs with them, and that we want to build it. We work with EU at large in as well, like Tanya Fernandez and other people who are actually part of the EU group here. And of course, the Swedish embassy in India, like Maria, who has just gone back, and Lena and others have been here, and the new scientific counselor who has also come in. So we are very keen to build global ties, and this allows us to, engage with such an fantastic ecosystem players here who are all partners. And from Ccamp, on behalf of my colleagues, I say we look forward to engaging, contributing, and learning to ensure that the final outcome for all of us, that is fostering real, groundbreaking, disruptive innovations for societal impact, that we want to do it all together. So with that, I will stop here. Ccamp is delighted to be a part of it, and will continue to engage with the Healthcare Innovation Center as we go forward. Thank you. And I'm very, very happy that the leadership team from the Swedish part is here to actually engage further and discuss that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saiyed. And as you rightly pointed out, then innovation has no boundaries. So, thanks for highlighting the couple of initiatives that Ccamp is doing, and really great to hear that Ccamp, one of the initiatives from Ccamp is top 35 game-changing innovations in India. I would now welcome Mr. Anders Tofte, Trade Commissioner to India, to give opening remarks and also speak about the collaboration.
Thank you so much, Harika. Good afternoon, dear friends. It is with a great pleasure that I welcome Dr. Saiyed and Ccamp, all your teams and innovators, to join forces with the India-Sweden Healthcare Innovation Center today. Welcome. As we all know, innovation and collaboration will not happen without an open mind, a strong forward-looking culture, which allows people not just to grow, but ideas to flow freely, to be challenged and to meet in a safe and friendly environment. And the Indian-Sweden Healthcare Innovation Center provides this platform. It is this environment that you can meet. But I think that one of the things that we need to bring in is that the magic will not happen without bold and strong believers. And we have such believers in our core team. For example, AIIMS Delhi, AIIMS Jodhpur, AstraZeneca, today represented by Dr. Sharma from AIIMS Jodhpur and Mr. Gagandeep Singh from AstraZeneca, and now also you, Dr. Saiyed, and your team. We need these strong believers to get the magic happen. We are very proud and we are very thankful to Ccamp and to your team, Dr. Saiyed, for all discussions, all positive collaborations so far. And we're looking forward to join forces and a long and fruitful collaboration for the future to do a strong impact together. So friends, let's start collaborate, let's start innovate and make the world a little bit better every day. I think we have great opportunities to do that together. So thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Saiyed, and good luck to us all, and take care of that. Thank you, Harika.
Thank you so much, Anders, and let's hope the magic happens very soon. once the startup gets onboarded and let them scale up very fast. In a very normal circumstance, we would have done a physical signing of this collaboration. But unfortunately, we are not living in a new normal. This is a new normal for all of us. So as a gesture on agreement of this particular collaboration, I would request Dr. Saiyed, Anders, and Gagan as well to give a thumbs up as a gesture to alignment of this particular collaboration. Thank you so much, everyone. And we are really looking forward for a very long-term participation and collaboration with Ccamp. And I'm really happy to hear that Atal Innovation Mission has actually recommended it, and one of our strong ecosystem player. Now I would request Mr. Amrit Hinduja and Mr. Shubhang Vikas, who are currently leading the India-Sweden Healthcare Innovation Center, to give us an overview about the complete Innovation Center platform and its offerings. Over to you, Amrit, to start with. Amrit, we can't hear you. No, we can't. We can't. Shubhang, do you want to take it over?
Yeah, I'll just try to take it over, and Amrit, when you're back, probably I'll hand it over back to you. So thank you so much, Harika, and welcome everyone. And thank you so much, Dr. Saiyed and Anders, for the wonderful introduction and very eloquent words on how and why innovation is very important, and how it may kind of create an impact in the world ahead. With a similar thought, I believe MOU was signed between India and Sweden way back in 2009. MOU in public healthcare signed between the governments of India and governments of Sweden, with the Ministry of Health from both countries being the prime collaborators or parties to it. And a lot of good stuff was done over the last 10 years. And at the 10th year, which was 2019, we decided that we had to kind of start off the next decade with a bigger bang to take all the good work that has been done forward. With that in mind, we came up with the concept of the India-Sweden Healthcare Innovation Center, which is a collaboration between our valued partners, AIMS Delhi, AIMS Jodhpur, and Business Sweden, or the Swedish Trade Commissioner's office, represented by Anders over here, of course. And this particular innovation center also falls under the umbrella of the joint partnership on innovation, which was declared between our Prime Minister Modi and the Swedish PM when our Prime Minister visited Sweden in 2018. So as part of the larger MOU and this innovation collaboration, we conceptualized and signed this collaboration or MOI between all the parties last year in December, when the heads of state of Sweden were visiting India. So with that, what we're trying to create with this innovation center is not just an incubation space, not just a place where startups can come and just sit, right? This is more a holistic and open innovation system that we are striving to create, which not only acts as a platform to ideate, develop, and test solutions, but also to help scale up solutions across India and even beyond. And which is why we have to partner with entities such as Atal Innovation Mission, right, which has a huge network of startups and is a pioneer in innovation, and with Ccamp, with its pure subject matter expertise in healthcare and life sciences, like Dr. Sayyed very rightly pointed out. So we intend to, Dr. Sayyed, complement the work that Ccamp has been doing, and also vice versa, as rightly said, with your collaborations with the United States, UK, and a couple of other countries, do the same with Sweden. But Sweden has a lot of expertise in innovation in general, and represented by some of our industry partners here, especially AstraZeneca, has done immense amount of work across therapy areas, and is one of the countries which is at the forefront of innovation across sectors and in healthcare and life sciences as well. Now, if we talk about vision and mission, um, uh, we heard the government of India's clarion call, right, a couple of years back of affordable and accessible healthcare. And we intend to kind of do a bit to contribute to that particular mission. The idea for this particular center is to work with Indian healthcare health tech startups and give them an environment, a safe environment, like Anders had said, where they can freely exchange ideas, get access to the best mentors across from academia and industry, and get access to those tools, equipment, and funding required to scale up. With that particular vision, we intend to onboard 10 to 15 startups, over the next month and a half, and we'll talk a bit more about that entire process a little later, and eventually hope that we can really create an impact over the next couple of years. With that, if Amrit, you're back, maybe I can hand over to you.
Hopefully you can hear me now.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Good.
So Amrit, over to you for the innovation pillars.
Thanks. Okay. Looks like technology was not my friend this morning. Okay, great. Thanks, Shubhang, for that. With that, maybe we can, as Shubhang mentioned, what we're trying to create here is like an eco system, and also reflecting on Dr. Saiyed's thoughts earlier, you cannot really operate in silos, and you really need to take advantage of different players to support and make success stories and support the startups. And that's what we're here to do. We have taken the India-Sweden Healthcare Innovation Center has tried to take, I would say, a holistic approach to innovation. If you could just help me change the slide, Harika, to the pillars. And I could maybe show you that in terms of how our thinking has been. So when we speak about innovation at the India-Sweden Healthcare Innovation Center, we don't just mean innovation in terms of a technology or a solution. So not just hardware or software or certain applications, etc. We like to kind of expand and have a more wide view to innovation, and that can be described as through some of the keywords that you see on the slide in front of you. So we would, of course, look at technology, and that would form an important part, solutioning. However, unless you also work with innovating in terms of protocols and processes of how healthcare is actually delivered, and those could be scientific protocols of how treatments are given, or what should be a process at the healthcare clinics, or how you manage patients, one would not be able to effectively find the best outcomes from the technology that we put in. So innovation and protocols and processes would be, I would say, the second most important pillar in our entire concept. At the same time, if you, with the processes and protocols in place, you also need to provide adequate skilling and capacity building. And that is both in terms of providing the right type of innovative thinking in curriculum, but also the innovative way to reach maximum people and skill maximum people possible in the smartest way. So innovation and skilling would be the third area. We would collect a lot of data from everything we do. I think that would be a cornerstone. At the end of the day, we need to be science-based in innovation. You need to be fact-based when you talk about healthcare delivery, and therefore working with innovation around data, managing data, analyzing data becomes important. And the last most important, at the end of the day, all of this needs to make sense. And you need to have some sort of smart commercial model, business model, both for the care provider, the technology provider, and for the patient. And therefore, the type of model thinking and how do you innovate in creating successful business models is another keystone. And therefore, through this holistic model, our ambition is to kind of drive the changes in healthcare with our partners. Another very important aspect of our thinking at the Innovation Center is what you often call in Sweden the triple helix or the quadruple helix thinking. That when you kind of build an ecosystem of innovation, you should think in different layers, and you need different stakeholders involved: government, academia, technology players, as well as civil society. And therefore, when you look at how we have tried to construct and we continue to grow our structure, we hope to involve players and important stakeholders from all these different levels, because unless all of them come together and think how to find solutions and how to solve the problems, they may not be feasible solutions that can go ahead. At a very top level, we are very happy to partner with the Ministry of Health, who has strongly supported us with ICMR. And this, of course, stems from the MOU of healthcare that was mentioned earlier, as well as the India-Sweden Joint Innovation Pact that PM Modi signed when he went to Sweden in 2018. So under this umbrella, this is kind of rooted at a G2G level, along with support from other governmental players such as Niti Aayog, Atal Innovation Mission, Invest India, Startup India, the Embassy of Sweden, the Ministry of Health in Sweden. Two core partners, AIMS Delhi, AIMS Jodhpur, the experts, leaders in healthcare who kind of set the gold standard for healthcare in the country, are very crucial to help us find the challenges and find the solutions that could be suitable. And of course, you cannot do this without the right technical knowledge and knowledge of certain specific areas. And AstraZeneca becomes a key player in that, with their global experience in the healthcare systems, as well as NASCOM with their entire technology backing. And none of this would ever make sense without, of course, the startups. And I think all of this ecosystem is ultimately being created for players like you. So we really hope that through the innovation challenge that we're going to announce in the next part of this session, we hope that you find it interesting and that you apply to become associated with us. With that, with that introduction of the India-Sweden Innovation Center, I hand back to Harika.
Thank you so much, Amrit and Shubhang. And I really hope that, yes, the science and fact-based innovation is the key. And with the ecosystem that we have created, hopefully the startups that are doing these innovations will be able to scale up much faster in a very short period of time. So with that said, we will now delve down deeper into the innovation challenge. AIMS Jodhpur is one of our key partners in the complete collaboration. And and who better to speak about innovation than someone who is having these challenges on an on-ground basis. So I would now request Dr. Praveen Sharma, Dean Research, to share his thoughts on some of the challenges that are there in the current healthcare ecosystem and the need for innovation.
Good morning, everybody. Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir.
When we talk about innovation in healthcare system, let us also think about what are the requirements in particular area of the country, or what is the requirement of healthcare in this country. The most important innovation is required, how to make people aware of their healthcare system or their own health. What is their requirement? Because in India, normally people don't demand much in rural area. Sometimes you have to make them aware that they are suffering from this disease and they require this, because it is very difficult to reach to that population. So there has to be some system using some technology which can create awareness among the population about the healthcare. That is very important. That is start from this. Before we talk about the treatment, diagnosis, and not many things, but the awareness is most important, where we must actively involve ourselves and do something. Some innovation can be done. Some biosensors can be used for certain diseases and recording of their disease condition. Then screening of population is also not yet being in this country so far has been undertaken. So we must look for some device which can help us to screen larger population and how to identify different type of diseases prevailing in different part of the country, because diseases are also vary from one part of the country to another part of the country. That is also most important. The screening of the population. This needs innovation in the area, and at the same time, we must think about some cost-effective screening system. The cost is very important in this country. If the cost is more, the people will not come forward for this. Cost-effective screening system has to be should be considered. Then again, the artificial intelligence is most important. We must think about that. That is also one of the first areas which is also, required to be developed. Diagnostics is another important part. We need point of care testing devices, more and more point of care testing devices, which can help us in diagnosing various diseases. So that is also very important, because if you look at this recently, antigen test for the COVID SARS-2 is very important. That is point of care testing. So point of care testing, even for these simpler analytes which are not available so far. So any startup can come forward and develop some point of care device for screening of population in distant area is very important. Therapy area is also very important. We have identified for this area cancer and metabolic cardiorenal disease. So then for this also screening becomes most important, and awareness of general population is also important. So we must look at that. There should be various biochemical testing, as I have already talked, testing devices, point of care devices should be developed for the monitoring and screening of various diseases, and improvement in the diagnosis and identify people at high risk. That is also important. Molecular diagnosis is also important, because there are several diseases which require molecular diagnosis, and not many kits are not available for different molecular diagnostic diseases. So we must look up that if the startup can come forward and develop molecular diagnostic kits, and that should also be cost effective, because kits are available. We sometimes get kits from outside the country, and cost is too high, and that is not possible to use those kits for the general population. So affordability is not should also be considered, and molecular diagnostic kits should be taken into consideration. And chip-based devices can also be promoted, and hopefully they will do this. Precision medicine is also now considered. That is also important, because of course, we are human beings. The same drug doesn't work on all of us. So sometimes personalized medicine is also important. Somebody must think about this, how to go into this area and develop this. And cardiorenal metabolic conditions, they are again, screening is very important, awareness is very important, and then develop identified population, which is a high risk group, should be identified, and let us think about how to help in these conditions. And these are few of the areas that I thought must discuss in this webinar. And let us invite startup to come forward, since Jodhpur range is, innovation hub, and we have all high-tech diagnostic facility available with us. We have got our state-of-art molecular diagnostic lab, right from the smallest, simplest instrument like electrophoresis to we are going to acquire NGS and microarray, Sanger, everything. We have robotic surgery is available there in our institution. AIIMS Jodhpur is one of the leading institutions, and will support innovation in diagnostic, therapeutics, and many more areas if we look forward. So medical biotechnology is very important, and we can work in many different areas. We can think about genetic engineering, genetic gene therapy, molecular diagnosis, stem cell therapy possible, monoclonal antibodies can be thought about for the treatment of different diseases. Vaccine development can also be talked about. Pharmacogenomics can also be one of the important areas where innovation and some industry partner to come forward and help to take care of various diseases. And this is all we need support from the industry partner and the startup to come forward in this area. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Praveen, for highlighting the need for cost-effective innovations and for the continuous support of AIIMS Jodhpur that I definitely want to highlight, and the state-of-the-art facilities that AIIMS Jodhpur has and the startups can utilize through this particular environment that we are creating. Thank you so much for that. We also have our knowledge partner who has been very keen in supporting this complete initiative and who has been supporting us from day -1, to be really frank. We have our knowledge partner AstraZeneca, represented by Mr. Gagandeep Singh himself, the Managing Director of AstraZeneca, to give an overview about the challenges that are happening in India and the reasons for creating our problem statements and what are the problem statements and the benefits that the startups can get through this particular platform. Over to you, Gagan.
Thank you, and I hope you can hear me well. Thanks once again. Really inspiring to hear Dr. Saiyed talk about what your organization is doing, and I feel we're really privileged to have this partnership and get the platform and obviously Dr. Sharma covered it really inspiringly. The real time challenges that we have and the fabulous opportunity which AIIMS Jodhpur provides. So thank you so very much, and I appreciate, Anders, your point as well, that how important it is to collaborate, and I'd like to take this opportunity to also thank Business Sweden for putting this together. I think Dr. Sharma covered it quite extensively, that problem statements that we're looking at. Healthcare today is at the center of the biggest challenge that we faced in potentially last 20-30 years, and you can clearly see that the whole world is looking to healthcare to find solutions. And here again, our own endeavor is to really look at as the normal approaches. The biggest challenge this country faces is around non-communicable diseases, including diabetic, cardiovascular, renal, or even in terms of chronic respiratory disease or oncology, which is one of the fastest growing diseases that we've seen. And that, given the context, as Dr. Sharma called out, I think the opportunity is humongous, whether it is in touching, like he said, either through data or AI-based approaches to help physicians in early diagnosis, or in patient-friendly devices that can help enable physicians perform not just remote or virtual consultation, but also are equipped to perform basic examination. And then you've got this whole opportunity with non-invasive wearables that can facilitate remote monitoring of patients. And we like to really explore this vast opportunity area around digital, and how can we have a faster outreach of education and awareness using the digital tools, coupled with some of the AI or wearables that we have to deliver very, very significant solutions and which can impact the patient's life. I mean, and he covered it absolutely, really well, nailed it, that it's got to be with a mindset of finding a frugal solution, therefore, so that we don't leave any patient behind. I think that's very, very important, that we keep frugality at the heart of as we innovate as well. And I'm, at the end of the day, I'm always reminded of the fact that the biggest challenge I think in healthcare we face is, if you talk anyone today, people know their bank account numbers, Aadhaar numbers, PAN numbers. But when you talk about simple things like what's your dyslipidemia, what was your HbA1c score, I think a lot of times people struggle to find that data, and that in many ways explains how we need with our solutions as well. apart from being frugal, so that people are able to own these data and are able to work towards their outcomes in the disease. Yeah, and I think the benefit to you and what's in it for you is going to be equally important as well. And our endeavor has been to offer a really promising opportunity to all these startups and provide them with significant mentorship, or funding or solutions that showcase across the global platforms. In addition to this, there is incubation opportunity which comes with this right inside AIMS Jodhpur campus, which I would urge all of you to really make sure that you're aiming for that. And along with this incubation facility, we're also offering an incubation at NASSCOM's Bangalore campus, which specializes around IoT as well. And I think the endeavor, our own endeavor, is that at the end of the day, these innovations cut across boundaries and offer a global reach. As an example, the previous challenge that we ran in 2018, out of which one of the solutions today is operational in over 12 countries. And we could provide that platform to them for in terms of global outreach, as well as networking into the innovation, either into the ecosystem or with industry leaders or policymakers as well. So overall, very, very excited. I look forward to hearing some path-breaking innovations and solutions coming up from this endeavor that we have together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gagan, for highlighting the benefits that the startups are going to get, as well as the details about the innovation challenge. And I really hope that in a very short period of time, as much as we remember our bank details, we will remember our basic health details as well in a very short period of time. Going to it, I hope now you are clear about the complete platform and the benefits that this platform is going to give it to you. Coming to the timeline of the Complete Innovation Challenge, we have launched our Innovation Challenge in the earlier month, and the applications for the Innovation Challenge are open till 27th of September. I would request every one of you not to wait till the last date. Request you to apply as soon as possible so that we'll not face any technical difficulties in the last date. All the applications will be going through an evaluation panel, and the winners for these people who will be onboarded into the Innovation Center will be announced on 25th October. So hope these timelines are clear to all of you, and we will also share the coordinates of how you can get in touch with us in case of any queries with you shortly. With that said, that ends the presentation part of the webinar. Now we have multiple questions from the audience. I'll take one question each to start with, and then so the first question that we had is a very interesting question, and we never got it in other webinars. Is it possible for private Indian universities to participate in this collaboration? Amrit, do you want to address that? Speaking on mute.
Yeah, hi. Okay. We are inviting for different entrepreneurs and innovators to apply. I think we will have to maybe dissect this a bit more, but because usually the applications are from a company or from an individual, but maybe the university also. I would suggest that if you could just drop us an email from any technical point of view if there's a conflict, but we would let you know how to structure your application. But if you have a good idea or a good solution, we will not make that a stopping block for you to apply. So the answer is yes.
Thank you for that. The other question is, we are working on pre-detection of respiratory diseases, starting with COVID-19. Is that something this scheme is good to apply for? Gagan, do you want to take this question?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry, there was a bit of a hitch here. No, look, again, a lot of times we're not as respiratory, though, when you talk about COVID-19 being a communicable disease, but the technology or the solutioning itself could be really, really beneficial. If there are opportunities there, please file in. And a lot of these have synergies later on in detecting other set of diseases and respiratory as well. So absolutely the answer is we'll be really keen, and pretty much if it works, let's fast track it as well, given the need we have right now.
Perfect. Thank you so much. The other question, again an interesting question, is can an European life science startup having Indian founders apply, or is it open only for Indian startup alone? Shubhang, do you want to take this?
Sure. The initial answer is yes, you can definitely apply. While the focus of the Innovation Center, at least in year one, is Indian startups, but we also have some spots reserved for non-Indian startups, Swedish or European or so on and so forth, to apply to this. I would really suggest to encourage you to apply, and we'll put through the same assessment, as rest of the startups. Yes, you can go ahead and please apply.
Thank you. Okay, one more question is, does the scheme support ideation stage therapeutics company? Amrit or Gagan, anyone of you, if you want to take, or both of you take this question, please. Yeah.
Maybe I could just comment on one part of the question. That is, we are inviting startups throughout the value chain. So from ideation stage, early stage, mid stage, late stage, and our program and different elements of the program are structured to support, depending where you are, to take you to the next stage, of course, to fuel you and accelerate you as much as possible. So definitely, we would definitely, if you have a strong idea, and not just a basic idea, but is backed by something solid behind it, I think that would make your case much stronger. And with the support of our partners at AIIMS, Jodhpur, etc., I think it's a very fertile ground to take it to a next level. Gagan, please add. Feel free to add.
So I think underscore whatever you said, but I'll also kind of mention a slightly different dimension for you to really take and exploit this opportunity the most, because it's very rare to get an opportunity where you have mentorship coming in from industry leaders like AIIMS Jodhpur or NASSCOM in it, and you're getting a hands-on incubation facility. That's quite unique by itself. So therefore, I would say, don't limit yourself only to ideation. If you have a great idea, that's great, but progress it very rapidly. We have the suite of services, but make sure you make the most and exploit this opportunity the most that you're being presented. And if you have prototypes, that is the case time when you'll have to have, then you'll exploit it the most.
I'm really happy that there are a lot of questions that are coming up, so I'm going to take more time. There's one comment, though it's not of a question, is we are a startup developing neuroimaging and informatics platform which automates process of diagnosis for treatment and surgery planning of epilepsy and other neurological disorders. So I think, I don't know if you want to ask the question, can we apply? Please do look at the innovation challenge statements and apply basis the relevance of the innovation challenge statement. You will have the details of all the innovation challenge statements in the website that is shown on the screen.
Just to add, Harika, to that, and so once all of you innovators and startups who look at the problem statements may also realize that your solution may not be 110% aligned, right, to the challenge statement. But if you think there is some alignment, there is some convergence of your objectives to what the problem challenge statement is, please go ahead and apply, right? And please kind of, drop an email to the coordinates, and we are very willing to kind of have a one-on-one discussion to you also, right? To kind of gauge your interest and how you may want to kind of, further converge with your solution problem challenge statement.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shubhang. Another comment per se is for specifically for Dr. Praveen is genomic innovations may improve care with precision medicine. and AIMS Jodhpur could support with that. So I think it's more of a comment. Yeah. You're on mute, Doctor. Yes, we can hear you now. Okay. Okay, I think there is a challenge. We'll go to the other question.
Doctor, you're on mute, I think.
Doctor, can you hear us, Praveen?
Yes, hopefully now.
Okay now. So we have all sorts of facility available with us, and we can definitely help if somebody wants to come forward with some genomics related innovation, and we are there to help them out.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Okay, the other question is, can you throw a little bit more light on the role of Sweden Health Ministry in this program? How do we get sandbox, access to data and digital platform, the timelines, etc., please? It's a multi question. So Amrit and Shubhang, if we are missing out on anything, please add. Shubhang, do you want to start with?
Probably Amrit, you can take up the Ministry of Health part.
Yeah, sure. So this initiative is rooted, so to say, under the India-Sweden Healthcare MOU, which is an agreement between India and Sweden to cooperate in the area of health, and also the India-Sweden Joint Innovation Pact. And by virtue of that, essentially we get commitment and support from both the governments to kind of fuel the initiatives and the success stories that come out of whatever we do with the ecosystem and the startups. In that sense, the Ministry of Health, both in India and Sweden, are key players when it comes to give direction to the work we do. They are part of the governing council and the governing structure that we have to both help us create a vision, drive this, which are aligned to the health vision of both countries, so as to solve problems of healthcare between India and Sweden, and to then support us to kind of grow the success stories. So I would say in that sense, they are very strong patrons and partners to us. They are not active on a day-to-day basis, of course, and therefore they have nominated our colleagues at AIMS Jodhpur and Delhi, who are actually experts in healthcare delivery, to work with Sweden to do this.
Yeah, and just to add, there was also some question around as to what are the other digital platforms, etc. So Business Sweden or the Trade Commissioner's Office being the Swedish representative in this collaboration, we will enable ideation, solutioning, and pure brainstorming with a variety of institutions and entities in Sweden. Beginning with multitudes of innovation center environments or hubs, from BioVenture Hub to Salgrenska Science Park, and I'm giving these names so that all of you aspirants can kind of go and Google them out. And with our knowledge partners, AstraZeneca, also running innovation centers and initiatives in Sweden and across the globe, there will be a direct access to startups which are similar to yours probably. There will be access to mentors from a variety of different institutions. So that will be the platform that will be able to provide you. As regards to the digital platform question itself, there are a variety of digital platforms from different countries, right? So, if you have a very specific one that you're interested in, please write it to us and we'll be able to respond to you then. Thanks, Harika.
Thanks, Shubhang. Again, many more questions to go. Please hold on. There are two comments per se. One is we have an Onco platform covering the entire life cycle of cancer care for personalized care delivery and population study. And the other comment is we are into digital healthcare for respiratory. We are very much interested in getting connected. So for both of you, I would request you to apply for the innovation challenge and reach out to us in case of any query in applying to the innovation challenge in the credentials shared on the screen. We will be happy to address your questions and will be very willing to take a look at your application. The other question we have we are working on IoT-based solution for medication adherence, would this be a fit? Amrit, do you want to take this?
Sure, absolutely. I think I can say, and maybe we can ask Doctor to also from AIMS to support us also. But essentially, as Doctor highlighted, we cannot look at only just treatment. You need to look at the complete continuum of care approach, and all these elements are very linked. So anything to strengthen the continuum of care approach is something definitely very valuable, I would say, and is a good thing to apply for. But Doctor, I also ask you to maybe comment.
Dr. Praveen, anything that you want to add upon?
No, it's okay. Amrit has already explained. So they should give detail of their proposal and requirement, what exactly they want from us. Let them give detailed email to us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And another interesting question: can an Indian startup and Israeli startup collaborate and apply for this? Shubhang.
That's
and Gagan as well, yeah.
Okay, I'll take it, and probably Gagan if you want to add. No, that's a very interesting question. Absolutely, like I mean, we say that we are creating an open innovation ecosystem and a holistic innovation ecosystem. We do realize that it cannot happen in silos. We do realize that folks who are in India may be collaborating with various startups from different parts of the world. I would definitely encourage you to apply, right? If your solution matches one of our problem statements, definitely please go ahead and apply. Gagan, anything to add?
No, I think broadly I'll only say is, it's very easy sometimes to look west and implement east, some of these solutions. But we got to keep what Dr. Sharma said really top of our mind, that it's got to fit the needs of the countries. It's got to be frugal, it's got to be simple, it's got to be scalable and adaptable to our needs. So if you think some of these can be addressed, absolutely yes.
Right.
Thanks, Gagan.
Thanks, Gagan and Shubhang. The other question is, I'll actually ask all of you to address this question, is how is the IP and patient privacy issues handled, given that we have hospital pharma company as part of this initiative? Dr. Praveen, do you want to start with?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. How is the IP and patient privacy issues handled within this initiative?
Is there, what exactly, I'm unable to follow this question, what exactly they want from us?
So I think more of Amrit and Shubhang, if you want to start with, and then Dr. can add upon the initiatives that we are doing.
Right.
Sure, Amrit, maybe I can go. So yes, so all of the innovations, any solutions coming out of this innovation center will be governed by Indian IP laws very clearly. We are also in the process of defining very specific IP laws for this particular center, which will be derived from the Indian IP laws. And our collaborators, AIMS Jodhpur, Delhi, Ministry of Health, and all other main collaborators and partners together are in the process. So before you get onboarded, yes, there will be a very set process. Secondly, on access to patient, like patient environment or so on was the question. So any access to live patient at AIMS Jodhpur will be driven by an ethical committee that AIMS Jodhpur has constituted, not just for this innovation center, but for all their students and other initiatives. There is a very, very clear and a set process where any startup onboarded on this platform would need to apply. It will be assessed by the professors and the doctors and the constituents of the committee and will be given an approval. And it's not a very long drawn process, as we understand, and probably Dr. Praveen can also comment if required. But at the end of the day, right, the moot question is that the solution developed in this center is not going to be leaked outside, right? It is being done at the highest, with the visibility with the most top echelons of the Indian government and the private sector as well. There'll be a very strong control on how we treat these innovative solutions, and it will be a very, very transparent two-way approach governed by an agreement that you and the Innovation Center will sign once onboarded. That would be my 2 cents, Harika.
Thank you so much. Dr. Praveen, anything you want to add or?
That is okay, because whatever the proposal or the statement, it has to be weighted by the research committee of this institution, and then it has to be approved by the ethics committee, institutional ethics committee. Of course, I am the member secretary of that ethics committee, so we will take care. But thing is, the proposal has to be on our format. The required format is available on our website. Submit their proposal and we will consider in my institutional ethics committee.
Thank you so much, Dr. Praveen. Since you have addressed this question, I'm moving on to the other one. Okay, Gagan, this question is to you. How can we get in touch with AstraZeneca along with your forum?
For sure, the coordinates are available, but I guess I mean, at the end of the day, we're all together as a team here, and everyone obviously brings a flavor and collaboration support to you, be it Business Sweden, be it us, or be it NASCOM or AIMS Jodhpur as well. So my own view would be that treat it as a holistic ecosystem and get in touch, like we said in this whole Q&A. But in case if coordinates through Business Sweden to you as well. But again, I would urge that together.
Gagan, I think we are
reaching out to us is important.
Okay, thank you so much, Gagan. I think we lost you but in the meantime, but first, I think people can coordinate on the credentials shared. We will connect with you, connect internally as and when required to the AstraZeneca team. Okay, we are really excited that there are a lot of questions that are coming up. And we're almost out of time, but we'll try to address all the questions, and let me know if any one of you have any conflicts that happen, and then we could take it along accordingly. Okay, the next question that we have is, would this innovation challenge offer a grant or funding with equity? Shubhang?
Yeah, Harika, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. The innovation sector itself will not provide for grants, but we have tied up with private venture capitalists and PE firms who are officially onboarded and will be part of the entire process, right? And will assess your applications to consider one or more of you. That is one. And secondly, we'll be conducting a couple of pitch/Shark Tank sessions with the same VCs, and we'll keep expanding the network so that you get the funding required, right? And from my experience, most of this would be on private equity infusion base, right? Because but that will be between you and the funding partner. Secondly, from the government side, also, we know AIMS Jodhpur also works with quite a few institutes who do provide grants. So we will enable access to those grants, and equally, we have organizations such as Ccamp and Atal Innovation Mission also having a very a well-defined structure of how to give out grants, and we will enable all the access to you to the different partners that we have to satisfy any funding requirements that you may have over the course of your tenure with the Innovation Center. Hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Shubhang. Okay. Hello. The other question that we have is, hello, I'm a radiologist. We are developing a software for rapid reporting of radiology cases, where we are aiming to help radiologists make report 4 times faster. This platform will also work as a training tool for radiologists. Given the grim scenario of radiology in India, I'm little clueless on how to sell it. Can you please shed a light on it? So I would request Amrit to start this question, then I'll ask this question again to Dr. Praveen as well to shed more light on it.
Okay. No, from a radiologist perspective, or the situation about radiology and how apt this is, I think maybe Dr. Praveen might be able to comment. We can ask him. But I would say whether you should apply or not. Again, I would say please take a look at the problem statements that we have published on the website, and if you see that there is a sync with any of those problem statements and the area of work that you are doing, either as a technology or as a therapy area, then I would encourage you to apply, and maybe diagnostics, etc. is probably diagnostics, QA planning, etc. is probably the line of thought that you are having. Dr. Praveen, any comments?
Yes. We have facility available, radiological facility available with us, and definitely we will help them out. And if they apply and send their problem statement to us, we will examine and we will support this. We have very, advanced neurosurgery, radiology departments, and I'm sure we'll be there to help them.
Thank you so much, Praveen and Amrit. The other question that we have is, can you support for multinational clinical trials in Europe and India for the Indian invented drugs? Shubhang, do you want to take this question? And I'll also ask Gagan also to add on.
Harika, sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
No problem. The question is, can you support for multinational clinical trials in Europe and India for the Indian invented drugs?
Yes, absolutely. I think we can definitely support with multinational clinical validation trials, but it will be on a very case-by-case basis. And we'll go back to what Gagan had said earlier. If it is something that is related to India, it has to be very indigenous, very frugal in nature in that sense. And if we are looking at Sweden or the greater EU area again, it has to be a very good fit, right? Well, there will be no commitment to actually getting the validation on track in Sweden, if you're asking, but based on our assessment of what the requirements and the potential are, right, or whatever you're creating, can help enable that.
I would also say, I could also say,
with respect to drugs. So Amrit, yeah, please carry on.
No, but I could say like this, without commenting too much on the drug part at this point, is that we would also need to validate the reason to kind of do certain things. So whenever there is an ask from the startups, that is something we need to mutually, as part of the system, to see what is really needed for you to go to the next stage. So that is one part of it. The second part is when we say that we can do it, what we would be able to, I think what Shubhang also means is that we would be able to probably guide you and mentor you on how to enable that process and connect you in that way. So just so we are a bit more clear on the role we will be able to help you with.
I think Deepak is also trying to say something. Deepak, you wanted to add on in Gagan as well.
So I just wanted to reflect by saying that, running a clinical trial for a product will be, for a drug will be a little out of scope for here. Rather than we are looking at for if you have to run some kind of a model to see whether in the real world scenario what more on innovation leading to diagnosis and adherence or treatment rather than a drug. I think that may be for drug innovation. Gagan, so you want to add anything?
No, nothing to add from my end. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, Gagan, and thank you, everyone. Okay. The questions continue flowing in, so I'll take some more amount of your time. The other question that we have is: do the selected startup need to physically incubate at AIIMS Jodhpur? Shubhang, I'll ask you to answer this question because this is something that we are doing. Yeah.
Okay. I think we should also give now a time limit to how many questions we'll answer. But happy to take this. No, absolutely. I think we will definitely encourage startups to take advantage of the facilities at AIIMS Jodhpur, because it's not just an incubation space. It's laboratories and a very direct access to mentors, academicians, clinicians that you will get at AIIMS Jodhpur. Plus also take advantage of the facility we have at NASCOM Bangalore, right? Because they have deep tech labs backed up by many digital platforms and cloud-based services. But having said that, it is not compulsory to kind of be in any one of those incubation centers. But again, we would like to see as to how would you operate without being in an incubation center, right? If your startup or solution or your operations would support that you can work virtually.
Shubhang, I think we lost you a bit now. I think the question was answered clearly. Now we'll take last two more questions, and I'll try to combine some of the questions so that we address a bigger part. The question that we have is there any cap on the number of startups to be selected, and what is the selection process along with the timeline? Amrit, do you want to take this?
Yeah, sure. So I think the timeline was shown a bit earlier. We encourage you to please apply by September 27th. Thereafter, approximately during a 1-month process, there'll be a thorough evaluation process that will happen, which is a multiple layer process. I'm not able to kind of walk you through it immediately, but it includes various kind of grading systems from the ecosystem partners, as well as a core committee that has been constituted. And one important intervention in your kind of involvement in the evaluation process will be that if you are shortlisted, then there would be also some sort of virtual face-to-face discussions before we arrive at a final decision. We have not fixed the number of startups that we want to take in or kind of incubate. So it's kind of an open answer, but I would say it all depends on the ideas we receive, and we are really encouraging to work with as many as possible.
Thanks, Amrit. There were a couple of questions on the digital solutions due to COVID and startup platform that builds blood disorder for patient engagement. So for all these questions related to whether we can apply or not, I would request every one of you to go through the innovation challenge mentioned in the website. And if you are still not clear, please contact at the credentials that we have shared in the screen right now. We'll be very happy to answer all your queries once you contact us one-on-one. And because of the limitation of time, we are not able to take all your questions. The last question for this particular webinar is timelines from ideation to GTM and any assist for approvals from CDSO and FDA, etc. Amrit, since I can see you, can you answer this question, and we could divert it to others as well.
Okay. Maybe I'll answer the CDSCO and that. Mentorship around regulatory things is definitely something we can provide in terms of guidance on how do you kind of get certain types of regulatory approval. We may not be able to do it for you in terms of actually preparing the paperwork, etc. There is a limitation, but we have a long experience of working with the CDSCO in the network and through our experts, and therefore we will be able to definitely guide you on how to do that, and also maybe help you get over some hurdles in the bureaucratic process that usually exists in such processes. Shubhang, maybe you want to comment on the ideation to go to market?
Sure. I think one of the services that definitely that will provide is mentorship on how do you want to scale up your particular solution across the country. We as Business Sweden and the Swedish Trade Commissioner's office do this all the time. We can definitely guide you on how to create a very doable and workable go-to-market strategy for India and across the globe as well. And again, it will depend definitely on our assessment and your contribution on how do you see your solution working and solving a particular problem.
Thank you, Shubhang. And I would really like to say that we are all excited about the questions that you are sharing on the YouTube. And sorry that we couldn't address all your questions, but we tried to address the majority of the questions. If you have any further questions, as I said earlier, please go and visit our website and contact us in the coordinates shared. You have been really a fantastic audience, and we are really excited to connect with all of you after the Innovation Challenge in your applications. Thank you so much. And may I request all the speakers now to stay on for one moment. We'll just take a screen grab of the event. Otherwise, thank you so much, audience, all the audience who have been on live with our YouTube event.
Maybe you need the videos of everyone.
Yes, Deepak, if you could also switch on your video. Deepak, Niranjan, and okay. I'm going to do it right. Yeah. Perfect. I did it. Thank you so much, everyone. And it's very nice connecting with you. And thanks for all your patience for addressing all the queries. And we are really hopeful that there will be a lot of applications that are going forward. And hopefully these startups will also get benefited a lot through the Innovation Center ecosystem. Thank you so much for all your time.
Thank you,
Thank
Harika
you.
and Rahul. Very
Thank you.
engaging.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really engaging.
See you.
Bye. Have a good day, everyone. Good day.
Bye.
See you, everyone.